girlfriend asked to open the relationship, I dumped her on the spot. Then she lied to her parents, said I freaked out over commitment. When they blamed me, I sent the recording and screenshots of her joking about hooking up with our friends. Now they're silent. I am 26, and I broke up with my girlfriend, Mary, 27, of 4 years about a month ago because she asked me to open our relationship. It is, was, and always will be a major line in the sand for me, something that I've opened up to her about in the past. We've had a great relationship, and the only thing that stands out, and the only reason it stands out now, is because of this situation, is she progressively started making a lot more sexual jokes about some of our shared friends over the last few months. Some involved her being with them, and others were three-ways jokes, etc. I won't lie, I played along a little, but I consistently made some joking response along the lines of, "You're more than enough for me," or "I don't like sharing." Never took any of it seriously because why would I? That is, until she asked, and I found out and realized that she was probably trying to gauge my response and see how open I was. Mary asked when we were getting ready for bed about a month ago, kind of bluntly. I was scrolling on my phone, and she was getting changed and goes, "If I asked you to open a relationship, would you?" This might sound super corny, but it was like I had an out-of-body experience, and all of the above hit me at once. All the jokes and comments so far made sense in a she's trying to butter me up to the idea kind of way and went really numb for a second. To her credit, she must have seen how freaked out I was and asked if I was okay. I pretended I didn't hear her and asked her to repeat herself, and she was really hesitant. She kept saying she didn't say anything and only repeated it when I insisted. Then I went to voice notes, set it to record, and put my phone down to talk to her. I don't remember much of it, just that I tried to stay calm and keep her talking, but the note is just over an hour and a half long, and it feels like I'm listening into a conversation that happened between two strangers. She trickled truth all the way through it and ultimately stuck to the idea that she hadn't been cheating. She didn't have any one person in mind, but had been fantasizing about mutual friends and people at work and seemed to get the idea that they'd be open to something if she asked. A lot of it is her being defensive and me trying to needle information out of her without it escalating into an argument. A lot of me placating her and trying to make her feel comfortable enough to keep talking. The apartment is mine, and I suggested we take a break a few nights later, so she went to stay with a friend for the weekend. By the next Monday, I'd spoken to some of my friends and my sisters separately and come to the conclusion that we were done and suggested she started looking for somewhere else to stay. She was upset, but didn't really argue and had the vast majority of her stuff out at her parents' house by the end of the week. So, coming to 2 days ago, her mom reached out over WhatsApp to say she was disappointed in how I'd handled everything. The message wasn't really framed in a way that she was reprimanding me, more that she wished we could have worked it out. She then added me to a group chat with her husband, ex's stepdad, and they both kind of tag-teamed me, saying that we could work it out. I was making a mistake and that I shouldn't overthink things. I eventually got it out of them that my ex had fed them a very vague story that we had broken up because she'd wanted to take the next step in our relationship and that I'd freaked out. We'd argued and she'd been effectively kicked out. Her stepdad was leaning on the fact that he thought I was more mature than this, and her mom just kept repeating how disappointing this whole situation was. So I was pissed. In the heat of the moment, I told them I had the recording of our conversation and that I could send that and it would explain what she actually meant about taking the next step. So I eventually shared it via Drive. In the meantime, I took a few screenshots of my ex and her messages, ones where she had made jokes and comments about sex with our friends and a lady from her office, and sent them along to that shared chat group. I haven't heard back since. It's been 2 days and I don't feel as vindicated anymore. A good few of my ex's comments were about other women, and I'm freaking out because I don't know, if at all, how open she's been about her sexuality with them. I also think I shouldn't have engaged at all, and I shouldn't have felt the need to prove my innocence to either of them. I've checked in with friends and over social media, and it doesn't look like there's been any fallout. Also, my ex blocked me a week ago before I spoke to her parents, so I can't really contact her without going in person. And at this point, is it too late to even give her a heads up or check in? Edit number 1. We don't live in the US, and we have no laws on recording private conversations on the books. I'm not proud of doing it, but it wasn't illegal. Mary and I had several mature, calm conversations about what we both wanted out of this relationship. Mary and I have been friends since we were 11. Her mom was my coach when I swam competitively, and our friend group and families are very close and intermingled. So she was wary about what would happen if we went on a break or fully broke up. I was not trying to punish her. I appreciate everyone's judgment. Best comments. She has gaslit me in the past, outright lied about what she said or what I said, and worked really hard to convince me that I was misremembering things. This has been more recent, the last year, and she came to therapy with me to discuss it, and we were working past it. If I'm being honest, I recorded that conversation because I knew she'd lie about it. But I assumed she would lie to me about what she said, not other people. I wasn't trapping her to expose her to the world later. I wanted it so I could go hack and prove I wasn't going crazy if when we inevitably argued about it. She didn't have to lie. She caused this herself. You're defending yourself because she couldn't be honest and unleashed her parents on you. Any results are her responsibility. I don't think she intentionally sicked her parents on me, but I also feel like I don't even know who she really is at this point. I also don't like the feeling of just making shit difficult for her, even though she's clearly still telling half-truths. Maybe she didn't intentionally and specifically tell them to contact you, but the fact they did means she gave them a story implying you were at fault at best. You did the right thing by ending it. If more people did as you did, this cheating tool used by cheaters, open relationship, would be over, and you were also right to send the conversation. She lied, and you only showed her parents the truth. The rest is her problem, and maybe it's time for her to start dealing with the consequences of her actions. Update number 1. One day after the first post. Hi everyone. I want to preface this with a genuine thank you. I came to this sub because my mind was all over the place yesterday, and you all helped me clear it up a little, even the people who clearly weren't trying to be helpful. As a result, on reflection, I'm not sorry for recording her. I understand that people don't like the idea of being recorded by an intimate partner, especially when having an intimate conversation, but all I can say is, you do not know what Mary is like or what our relationship was like either. A little before she came to therapy with me, and the incident that pushed me to try and get her to come with me, Mary texted me to pick her up a Smarties McFlurry on the way home from work. When I brought it home and gave it to her, she told me she asked for a dairy milk one I don't even do here anymore, and rolled her eyes at me, not listening to her again. Trying to show her what she had sent led to a 15-minute shouting match, which resulted in her throwing her ice cream at the wall and shattering my phone screen. That's one incident of many. She once told me I was flirting for holding the door open for a group because there were girls you were clearly trying to impress with them, and went on such a long tirade about my male chivalry was just a selfish way to gain attention from women beyond her. I'm not apologizing anymore for recording her. I wouldn't have had such a visceral need to defend myself if I wasn't with someone who kept hurting me. I made that recording because I knew she would lie, and she did. But I thought she would lie to me, not to other people, and I wanted it strictly, so I had her words there on my phone should she start claiming she said anything else. At the end of the day, though, we didn't end up having any of that, and we parted maturely. I understand that a lot of you won't believe that was my intention, and I'll just have to live with that. Beyond all that, I'm still sorry for sending it to her parents as a way to get back at her. Her parents have always been very pro-LGBTQ+, so although it wasn't right to out her, I was massively overthinking them harming her or kicking her out. At most, exposing her interest in polyamory would have embarrassed her, but nothing I shared would have put her in any danger. That being said, I saw red during that exchange and saw this as a way to finally show people I wasn't misremembering things. It was spiteful and vindictive, and I can see so many different ways I could have dealt with the situation more calmly, but I was angry and I didn't do any of them. And for that, I am still sorry. I apologize to her parents. I apologize for getting angry, cussing them out, and for sharing private information about their daughter to them. I fully acknowledge that I was being spiteful and that it was a harsh escalation of a response. And Paul, what I'll call them for this post, accepted it at face value, but asked if I could come over for lunch this afternoon so we could have an actual conversation. It was nice, but really awkward too. Mary wasn't there. I apologized again and Paul, and said they were sorry for interfering and not giving me a chance to tell my side. We both agreed we'd acted inappropriately in that, going forward, we wouldn't involve ourselves in this topic. Left things on relatively better terms, but I'm not going to talk to them for a while. Above everything, they are Mary's parents, and they will always be in her corner, as parents should be. So keeping my distance is in everyone's best interests. As for Mary, she unblocked me late last night and let loose a tirade of angry messages. They mostly, of course, consisted of how creepy and disgusting I was for recording her. Again, I recorded her because I knew she'd lie and all she did was prove my point, to which, despite still cussing me out, she had no real response for. I got from her and in Paul that things are understandably awkward after what I'd shared, but she's still staying with them for the time being. They've not discussed it with her, beyond letting her know they'd heard the recording and now knew she'd lied, but there has been no indication of negative consequences. And that's it. I'm reeling from 4 years of a relationship being over, on my girlfriend and best friend using my own trauma as a way to make me break up with her, and then pretending everything was okay just to lie about me behind my back. But what is hurting me more is how I only now understand, from reading replies to my post and talking to my friends, that I was with yet another abuser, and I am nowhere near as strong or as over what happened to me as I thought. Best comments. I absolutely don't blame him for recording their conversations. I often wished I could record my older sister. She'd scream and abuse at me for hours and then claim I was the one who'd shouted at her when she was only being reasonable. I don't understand why people were upset that he recorded the conversation. After all, he was in a relationship with her. She had just asked for an open relationship. Essentially, she had just ended their 4-year relationship. She had lied and gaslighted him before. Honestly, I don't understand why people are defending her. His actions were 100% justified.